Hello, we are going right into part 2 with this. So if my voice dies halfway through, it is my own fault. I was gonna try blaming someone else, but you know. Alright, Quinn. Quinn got reworked quite substantially since she first came out. I'm not even gonna look it up though. It's gonna be a waste of time. If you want to see it, you can see it. I think new Quinn's just more interesting than old Quinn. I played old Quinn more, but it's because I don't play top lane, I play bot lane. So it is what it is. Let's see. Rek'Sai. Rel's gotten a rework. I actually think there's some things that they've done wrong with Rel, but overall, I'm gonna say, I think she's way more interesting as a champ, and like as her champion fantasy is concerned, than she was when they first released her. So good job with the Rel rework. Bro, it's so hard going through like 800 billion characters. Rengar did get reworked at some point, but then they changed him back. Am I crazy? Let me put him up here for now. And check. Because I'm not really a Rengar player. I know they changed his item. Which, by the way, I think Victor and Rengar having their own item was cool. I think they should still have it. Sorry. That's just me. Whatever. All in brush your stealth. Rengar gains a leap range in his basic attacks. Dash. He already like does this. I loved the bone tooth necklace. Straight up. I thought it was awesome. And then you'd be able to kill a Kha'Zix or vice versa. That was cool. It's like, oh, but you can still kill a Kha'Zix or a Rengar as either of them and get bonuses. It's like, yeah. Yeah, they changed his Q to be like a slice. But it was next to basic attack gain bonus attack speed and also deal bonus damage. But that's just what it does now, right? Yeah, so they changed him and changed him back. Okay, basically. And then they got rid of his item. He shouldn't be up here. But go back. You're out of here, bro. Some might say, well, that was a waste of time. And I would agree with you. Anyways. Oh, right. Welcome back, by the way. I guess this is sort of the beginning of the next video. We're doing every champion rework tier list. That's what this is. That's probably in the title. There was a part 1. This is part 2. If you're wondering why there's every champion on this list, it's because every rework tier list on Tier Maker does not actually have every champion that's been reworked on it. And it doesn't usually even have all the champs that have been, like, bigly reworked either, like Aatrox and Pantheon, for some reason. So I just decided I'll go through all the champs and decide for myself if they've been reworked or not a lot. Rise, by the way, D tier. OG Rise? Not OG, not like 2 rises ago. I mean like First Rise, not Alpha Rise. First Rise, this was a good champion. I loved this champion. Yeah, whenever you use an ability, all your cooldowns are reduced. Awesome, by the way. You gain cooldown reduction every time you leveled your Q. This was just point and click damage. It didn't do anything else. But, you know, it's pretty nice. This is a point and click route. Pretty nice. This was basically like Dark Wind, and I guess now Brand's ult. This was awesome. Yeah, bounces 5 times and to rise in nearby enemies, the primary target, dealing magic damage. This was awesome. And reduces their magic resist. Man, I loved Old Rise. Ah, he was so cool. I think the biggest problem was that he had mana scaling on all his abilities, which was why he was broken. Um, kind of not my problem though. That's Riot's fault. That's entirely Riot's fault. Um, yeah, and then his ult was he gains a ton of spell vamp, a ton of movement speed, and all his abilities did damage in an AoE that dealt half their damage. Oh, it was so much fun, man. I loved Old Rise. He was so much fun to play. Then they reworked him and made him kind of complicated, where he had like this arcane mastery system that changed how his abilities worked. Yeah. You know, I'll let you read it. I'm not gonna explain the whole thing right now. I'll scroll through. Wait a sec. I'm reading it. This is the wrong version. This is the first Rise rework. Rise had Desperate Power on this kit? Oh yeah, because this is still a point-and-click W. Bro, I forgot about this Rise. Sorry, Rise has had a couple reworks. Wait. But they haven't talked about the third rework Rise. Okay, well, this version of Rise was just a lamer version of this version of Rise. Straight up. But the freaking this version of Rise used to be way different. What? That's crazy. Target's rooted instead of slowed. With Flux. He had Realm Warp, but his old Realm Warp is... Alright, whatever. I assume the wiki has this stuff somewhere. But he had another version of this rework, where he was essentially how he is now, but more complicated. But he was also way more interesting and fun to play. Current Rise is literally the worst of both worlds, where he isn't the complicated, fun, interesting Rise. But he's also not the simple, Giga Burst, Spell Vamp, crackhead Rise. He is neither of the cool Rises. He's just lame. So, Rise is ass. Sorry, Riot. You did a terrible job with Rise. Let's see. Rumble, Samira, Sejuani. Sejuani's a good rework. They changed her, like, a lot, but, like, all in ways that just make sense. Not to mention her model's just way cooler, but, you know. I can show you her old stuff. Basic attack, slow. Whoa, that's crazy. Ashe used to do that. Anyway, so she would dash and apply slows to everyone you pass through. Wow. Knock aside minions and monsters hit, and Bristle only stops charge upon reaching maximum range or colliding with a champion. Northern Winds. You just have an Ivia ult around you, like at all times. Yeah. You consume your passive on enemies to slow them even more and do some damage. Wow. Crazy. And this is basically her ult. It worked like her ult now, but it didn't have the AoE. So it was kind of just worse. To be fair though, playing old Sejuani with AP was really funny because of this ability. This ability was really stupid. But yeah, they just pretty much just made Sejuani more interesting and cool. She's very similar in a lot of ways. In all the ways that matter. In all the ways that don't matter, she's better. Sejuani, they did a great job with, actually. I will put her in S. Underrated rework right there. Probably because no one plays her. That's probably why it's underrated. Let's see. Senna, to be fair, has been changed so much since her release. She probably should be on this list. However, I'm not gonna put her on this list. Because I don't wanna. I don't know. Functionally, she's the same. She still collects souls. Her Q technically does the same thing. Her ult technically does the same thing. I could put her in D tier for champ that Riot doesn't know how to balance. If that counts for something. It doesn't, but, you know, if it does. Shaco got a pretty big rework in his lifetime. You might be surprised because he feels old and bad. I wonder if the wiki will have all his old shit on here. Yeah, they do. Alright, well, Shaco deals bonus damage in striking enemy from behind with his basic attacks or his E. His E has a passive. While it's not on cooldown, his basic attacks poison his targets, slowing them and reducing their attack speed of minions and monsters. Ow. Yeah, you know, Jack in the Box. It only hit one target in the past. It didn't hit in an AoE. Yeah, I mean, he was pretty different, I think. And then they changed this to this. Although, to be fair, is this not the same as current Shaco? Also, old Shaco used to work differently as well. It had like different scalings and different visual stuff. Like, maybe I'm crazy. No. I'm not crazy. Sorry. I know I'm not crazy. But there's so many changes on here that the wiki just doesn't have in past versions, and I wonder where those things are. Could be in like patch history. Whatever, Shaco used to be a lot different. So I'm putting him on here, basically. Although, to be fair, now that I think about it, he's basically the same as Senna. Senna's a lot different. But they're essentially the same. So, shrug. Let's see. Shen's a big one. I do remember vaguely what old Shen did, but honestly, it's been a long time. Shen's basic attacks periodically deal extra damage and restore energy. Wow. Every basic attack reduces this cooldown, doubled with faint holds. Oh yeah, his Q was a point and click slow where he threw a sword. Oh yeah. And then it would mark someone, and then if you hit them, you'd heal. Wait, this was awesome. I remember this. This was so cool. Yeah, I was a big fan of that. And I hate Shen's current Q. It's like one of the clunkiest abilities in the game. I'm sure Shen mains will be like, actually, it's very cool and unique and good. You just have to know how to use it. Yeah, whatever. I didn't ask you. His old W was ass. It just gave him a shield. It reduced the cooldown of his key strike. Yo! But whatever. Literally, no one asked. His taunt was basically the same. He takes 50% reduced damage from basic attacks by taunted opponents. That's crazy. I definitely didn't know that back in the day. Anyway, yeah, his ult is basically the same. He places himself between them and the nearest visible enemy champion. Wow. They did change him a lot, though. For sure. Bro, I kind of like old Shen. But new Shen's way more interesting. It doesn't really matter. Like, because his old Q might have been cooler than his new Q, but his old W was way less cool than his new W, so... So, you know... I think they did a good job. Let's see, Singed was changed. pretty significantly, so I should put him up here. Bro, this is one of those things where you're gonna be learning stuff as I'm remembering stuff, because this was years ago. Yeah, Singed was way different. And they don't have any of that on here. Even though they have this on here? What? They say this stuff is here, but none of it's listed. Okay. Well, he used to gain a portion of his mana as bonus HP, instead of movement speed. But his ult used to be a lot different as well. And his slow was way different. Why? I don't understand. Why is none of this on here? Am I crazy? As to why none of this is shown? I must just be clicking on something that I don't understand. I don't understand. Whatever, if I'm being gaslit by the LOL wiki, then I'm just gonna have to say sorry, Singed. I guess you weren't changed enough for people to care. Sivir was changed kind of a lot as well. Well, Scion first. Scion I put in C tier. His voice, his lore, his model, way better in all regards. Basically the same thing as Mordekaiser in this situation. I loved his old gameplay. His old gameplay was awesome. It was so funny and so stupid. You just gain like 300% lifesteal and 500 bajillion AD, and you had a point and click stun, and you just slowly walk up to people with your derpy axe, and you would just wail at them with 10,000% attack speed for some reason. It was so funny. And I don't like playing new Scion at all. I think he's boring. But, you know, I don't think that means they did a bad job. I just don't like it. And I did like old Scion. I'll put him in B. Because I think they did better with his gameplay than they did with Mord's. As opposed to old Mord's gameplay, at least. But I think old Scion's gameplay was way more fun. Okay. Back to S's. Sivir, right? We're going to Sivir. Sivir's old spell shield used to give her mana instead of health. Her W used to be a toggle that was always on. So you didn't just get 3 empowered auto attacks, it just would always bounce. Her Q used to do way more damage than it does now. Honestly, Sivir's old character might as well have just been my Q one-shots people. I'm pretty sure her ult was slightly different as well. But I'm sure it won't tell you here. It won't. Alright. Good. Good. It tells you. It literally tells you she had old abilities, but it doesn't have them on here. Why? What? Why? Why not? Why not? Whatever, it's fine. It's fine. I think they've just made her a healthier champion, though. And their visual rework that was honestly now looks old still, made her look way better. Old Sivir looked like trash. Alright, back to S. Skarner. In a lot of ways, I hate new Skarner. Wait a second. Skarner and new Skarner are on here. Okay. I'm just gonna use new Skarner instead. I hate new Skarner. I hate how he looks. I think his base skin looks bad. Maybe that's on purpose. Maybe they want to make his base skin look bad so people would buy skins for him. I think he's way more broken than old Skarner. He's disgusting. I liked old Skarner's lore with Hex Tech. I thought it was good. They had to delete it because they made Arcane canon. It wouldn't make sense if Arcane was canon and Skarner was canon. But I liked old Skarner way more as a character. So they made his character and his kit, in my opinion, less cool, less interesting, less good. But old Skarner was still kind of ass, so I get it. I understand. No, this wasn't very good. C tier. Although this makes me feel like I was unfair to Mord and should put him in B. Yeah, C tier. C tier rework. It's not very good. Yeah. Sorry. I don't know. Is what it is. Sona's been reworked, but since she's come out, but something tells me the wiki's gonna gaslight me into believing that's not true. Sona has just gotten more interesting and cooler since they reworked her, though. So I'm gonna put her in A. Soraka has been reworked since she's come out. She's been reworked a lot, actually. I actually liked old Soraka way more than new Soraka. Old Soraka was bad for the game. Surely, though. Surely all of these will be here. They are! Let's go! What the hell? I don't even remember Salvation. But yeah, you'd give people magic resist. Your Q was just an AoE around you. You drop stars, and if you just spammed it, it lowered their magic resist, right? Yeah. And you could literally get their magic resist to 0 with this. It was really funny. AP Soraka was awesome. This just healed and gave armor and didn't hurt you. Can you believe that? It just healed and gave armor and didn't hurt you. It did have a pretty long cooldown. But whatever. Yeah, she would give people mana. Yep. Or silence and deal magic damage. Most of the time you'd silence and do magic damage. Being able to just give mana, way better. And then her ult is basically the same. Give her take. I liked old Soraka way more. I thought she was way more fun, a way more compelling healer type character than current Soraka. Obviously, lots of game designers, as I said previously with old Kale and Karma, and even like Nidalee now, people at Riot, when making the game, cared about healers, but over time they were like, we hate them, we despise them, we do not like healers, and we want them to go kill themselves. Riot's words, not mine. I believe Morello was responsible for a lot of that, which is why the Morello's tome, at least I think it's still called that, maybe it isn't, but gives grievous wounds because he hates healers so much. Not based, not cool. I love healers, and I hate that League hates them. Anyway, I don't really like new Soraka very much. Visually, she's way better. Old Soraka looked like trash. New Soraka's like an adorable anime girl. Yeah, I don't know. It's C. It's C tier, for sure. It's C tier. She's definitely still at least a healer, right? She's at least can heal. They've nerfed Warmog so many times that even doing that is very difficult without just killing yourself. You might be like, oh, just land more Qs. Not always a lot of opportunity to land Qs on people. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, that's how I feel. I don't know. It's not a very good rework. Let's see, Swain. I loved old Swain. I will say this about almost everyone who was reworked. Believe it or not, I think the champs I had the most playtime on back in the early days was pre-rework Urgot and pre-rework Galio. To tell you the type of player I am. Anyway, I loved old Swain. I thought it was cool. I mean, visually, he's a completely different character. They deleted Old Swain. Like, he's an old, maleficent ass sorcerer dude who is like a creepy dude who turns into a bird. New Swain is not that. He's not that at all. They deleted Old Swain. Hell, honestly, they deleted everything about Old Swain realistic. Like, you can say they're both kind of tanky mages that heal. And that's about it. Whenever Swain kills something, he gains mana. It's very useful. His old Q used to put essentially a turret. He'd place his bird somewhere and it'd shoot a laser at people. And they could walk out of the range and stop doing that. Yeah. This was a cool ability. I loved it. Nevermore, just you clicked somewhere and in an AoE, after a second, a snare would appear. I liked it. It was good. I like it more than his current E, certainly. Torment. It was just a dot. You just put it on someone and you dot them. He was another Leandries type character like Malzahar and Brand and stuff. Because he had Decrepify and Torment. And his ult. But, I don't know. I liked it. Will of the Old Swain with Will of the Ancients. I'm telling you guys, if you haven't experienced it, and you're still playing League of Legends, man, you were missing out. You were definitely missing out. Jeez, man. I'm just like feeling sad now. But yeah. Basically the rest of his damage would do more damage while his E was on them. Then his ult was a toggle, and he would turn into his crow form, which is kind of like how his ult works. I mean, it's not how his ult works now because it's not a toggle, but it's the same idea. It's kind of the only thing about him that they kind of kept. So essentially, he'd send out crows in an area while he's doing it. Or ravens, I guess. And they would do some damage, come back to him, and then heal him. So long as he had it on. But it would take a ton of mana to use. And the longer you were in it would use more mana. So you'd use your passive to get mana back. I thought he was a ton of fun. I don't like New Swain at all. Well, actually, I say that. There's an old New Swain, too. They reworked Swain, but from where he was when they reworked him to where he is now, it's like Senna levels of changes, where he is very different. And where he is right now, in my opinion, is the lamest he's ever been. But visuals, I liked the way Old Swain looked though, because he was like a decrepit old man, and there's not very many of those in the game. He even like walked with like a limp and had like a cane, and New Swain is just like a hot guy. I'm putting him in C. I'm sorry, I don't know. I like him in the lore. I like this Swain in the lore, but Old Swain is gone. They got rid of him. Honestly, fuck him. I'm putting him next to Aatrox. I don't need to like Swain. Like, who am I trying to please? I know he's popular, but like, I don't care. Syndra's been changed a lot, but I'm not dealing with that. Tom has been changed a ton. Sure, whatever. I liked old Tom. New Tom is lame. He should never have been a top lane bruiser. He should just have been someone who eats his bot laner and runs away with them. Fuck pro play. That's all I'm gonna say. Fuck pro play. They ruined this champ. Let's see. Talon got a huge change. I used to like him. Now I don't. C tier. I will even show you Talon's old stuff as long as it's still on here. It might not be because the wiki hates showing old stuff. Oh, here we go. Basic attacks deal more damage to people who are slowed, stunned, rooted, or suppressed. His Q was a basic attack reset and would bleed and reveal for a couple seconds. Man, I loved old Talon. Yeah, he would send out his W, and send out daggers, and the daggers would come back. It's slow, it'd do damage. Let's see. His old E, he instantly teleported to behind someone and slowed them. And essentially the next ability he does did more damage, so you just EQ and you do crazy damage. His ult is the same. His ult is the only thing that's the same. Yeah, I liked Old Talon a lot. I played him a pretty good amount. He was definitely the assassin I liked the most. I think New Talon is lame. Well, okay. The wall jump mechanic was cool. But if they could give him the wall jump mechanic and then just give him all this stuff back and get rid of his new stuff, then Pog. Let's see. My voice is getting shot. Tristana was changed in a pretty significant manner, but not in one where I care that much. Tarek. I mean, old Tarek was a lot of fun, and I liked him. But I don't really think he lost much by getting reworked. Like, after using an ability, his next basic attack does extra damage based on his armor. Reduces cooldowns. That was cool. He kind of still has that, though. He heals an ally and heals himself. He kind of still has that. As an aura, nearby champions gained armor. This was cool. You gain bonus armor while it was off cooldown. But if you use it, you do damage in an AoE and reduce an enemy's armor. This was really cool because of the way his old ult worked. His old E was a point and click stun. I know I have previously been like, oh, a point and click ability, that makes it so much cooler and more interesting. This sucks. Yeah, sorry, Dazzle is way cooler now than it was. The way that it works now is way more fun as well, because you can shoot it off of allies and stuff. I don't know, it's just way better. His old ult was awesome. You'd slam the ground, dealing magic damage, so essentially you'd stun someone, ult shatter, and then the next 10 seconds you gain bonus AD, AP, and in minute order that gives 50% of those bonuses to nearby champions. It was awesome. You just run at people and slap them and heal. He kind of can still play that way. And his new ult is way better. And honestly, I like this ult, but I think they just did a fine job. It's just better in all ways, pretty much. I don't think it's like peak rework or anything, but he's just good. Let's see. Trundle. Visually, he changed a lot. And I actually liked old Trundle's like design and lore better. But gameplay-wise, it's basically the same. Trindamir's been changed a good amount, but not enough for me to care. Twisted Fate's been changed a lot. But still kinda not enough for me to care. Old Twitch was pretty different. Yeah, sure, I'll talk about Old Twitch. I think they just did a good thing by changing him, because Old Twitch was really toxic, even though I hate new stealth. I think it's stupid. Past versions, here we go. Oh, they don't show that stuff? Okay. Well, his old ult had ammo. It would have a certain amount of shots before you ran out. It was still dodgeable, but it was actually more dodgeable than it is now. So his old ult was really bad. Let's see. His W wasn't a cask that you threw on the ground and slowed people. It just slowed. Like in an area. It would just slow people. I think maybe you had to have your poison on them. Maybe. His old E used to do more damage, but it got rid of the poison. To be fair, with damage creep, it probably does less damage comparatively. But it would get rid of the poison, that's why it was called Expunge and not whatever it's called now. Yeah, see, all this shit is on here. It's just not here. His original Q stealthed him for up to like 3 minutes. It was awesome. Also, the way that stealth worked was you could just be stealthed next to someone, and if they didn't have an oracles or a pink ward, they couldn't see you. And honestly, I think it should still work that way. But sorry for having a bad opinion and liking fun. But I will say, for the most part, they just have made this character better. His model's way better. His old model looked terrible. I don't know if it's on here, but here's his splash art. This is basically his in-game model. Bro had just like a pizza on his head for some reason. Alright. Let's switch. Oh man. Uter and Urgot right next to each other. Crazy. Okay. Uter's a great rework. I liked old Uter. New Uter's just more interesting. He has more gameplay. He looks better. It's not much to say. They did a great job. Trundle is not here. Trundle's fake. Go away, Trundle. He's gaslighting me. Urgot was probably one of my favorite champs to play. I played him a ton. Like, a ton before they reworked him. I love the way he played. I loved his, like, E into Q missile, lock-on, huge burst damage, armor shred thing. I loved his ult. I know people like to complain about how his ult literally just killed him. But it doesn't matter if it killed him, because it rank 3, it had such long range. You're guaranteed, if you use it right, to kill an enemy team member as well. And you might say that's toxic gameplay to just kill yourself to kill someone else guaranteed. I didn't ask, right? The game was more fun then. The game was about having fun. It wasn't about competitive viability and balance and shit. And that's what games are made for. It's about having fun. I will say, however, even though I loved old Urgot and I wish they just made another champ with his kit and put him in the game, and they would probably be my main and I would love them forever, this new champion we got that deleted old Urgot, so I gotta say, they did a good job making this champ, and visually making him way better. But they deleted his gameplay, so I can't put him higher than B. Sorry, Urgot, my dude. We're almost there. We're at U. Can you believe it? And you believe it? It's not funny? What do you mean it's not fun? Oh, okay. Man, I've played this game for so many years that it might sound like I'm bullshitting people when I say I main champs. But literally playing one champ for an entire season can be a main, and I could have done that like 15 times since I started playing this. Varus has been changed a lot, but not enough for me to care. Veigar has been changed a lot, but not enough for me to care. Victor. When this champ came out, he was really cool. He had like a hex core thing that he had to upgrade to here. Let me see if it's on here. Victor. It probably isn't. Victor can augment each of his basic abilities with 100 hex fragments. Yeah, but is his hex core on here? No, his hex core is not on here. Oh, maybe it is. Hold on. Okay, yeah. Yeah, okay. Victor starts each game with the Hex Core, an item that takes up to one of his item slots, but provides him with stats and can be upgraded in the store. Loved this, by the way. Absolutely loved this. Upgrades his stats. It gives him 3 AP per level. Yeah, if you augment your hex core with power, it gives him this stuff, and the power transfer increases Victor's movement speed, and I loved this Victor. This was awesome. Straight up. Loved playing this character. You might be saying, doesn't look that different than what he is now. He still has gravity field. Like, he still has the laser. This did DOT before, I forgot about that. And yeah, that's true, but it's hard to explain how the game feel was so much different. With this thing in your item slot, he was way cooler. Way cooler. Then they changed it. Increased its bonuses, grants him an evolution point, which you can use. Yeah. They did it like this. This is just before his rework. This is basically just the exact same character. Yeah. Anyway. I think Release Victor was very cool. Victor, before they changed him into Arcane Victor, was really not cool. He's just a really boring generic mage with no interesting, like, stuff going on with him. Post Arcane Victor, he's still kind of a boring generic mage, but, I don't know, his vibes are a bit better, I guess. The way his animations work, the way his W actually is a working ability now. His ult growing when you get kills. Not to mention, I just think baseline Arcane Victor looks cooler than Old Victor, even if they just got rid of Old Victor's character entirely, which I think sucks. So I'm gonna say this is from release to now. I think they've done a pretty good job. Pretty good job. They deleted his item and stuff, but, you know, it's fine. I wish it would have been S tier if they didn't make all his skins really bad. But, you know, they did. So, oh well. Alright. The Vladimir, they have changed quite a bit. But not enough for me to put up there, so I'm not gonna. Volibear. Weirdly a situation to where they deleted a champ and made him just way cooler in every regard. This is like the only time I will ever believe this. Old Volibear was so toxic. He had a Mundo ult as a passive, basically. Crazy, I know. His old Q, you know how it stuns now when he hits you? It used to fling them over him, so it was Singed E, and to give him a move speed bonus. Crazy. Wait a second. Did I already put Fiora in D tier? Okay, I did. Sorry, I thought I almost forgot about her. Yeah, so Volibear's yeah. He would bite someone, does some damage. His passive gives him attack speed. Yeah. His E was just some AoE damage. That slowed. It was alright, I guess. Enemies who were dashing or airborne during the roar or dealt their max health. I didn't even know that. Well, to be fair, it's been a long time ago, so maybe I did know that and I just forgot. But his old ult was just his new passive, but essentially his auto attacks did extra magic damage on hit, and they bounced. I played this champ. I liked this champ. And I think when they remade him, they kept everything that was cool about him, but just made him cooler in every way. Not to mention his visuals, his lore, all better, all much better. This champ is great. One of the very, very few times they deleted a champion, and I think he was better off for being deleted. Xerath And Wukong, actually. Wukong's been changed a lot since he came out, but... Oh, and Warwick. Damn. Okay. Alright. I'm just gonna say this straight up. I liked old Warwick a lot. You might be thinking, old Warwick? Warwick's been the same forever. What do you mean, old Warwick? Well, you know, I say that, but probably a lot of people who are watching this video have been around for a long time too, but maybe not. Maybe you're learning something. But basically, yeah. His auto attacks did extra damage and healed him. It stacked. It stacked up to 3. It would heal him and do more damage. His old Q was just a frah. It did a ton of damage for no reason and healed him a ton. His old W just gave him attack speed, and it gave attack speed to his allies, which was awesome, and I loved this ability. His old E was a toggle, where he gave sight to all nearby enemy champions below their max HP, alerting them to his presence. That's why it was a toggle, right? It was like a skill thing to where it was like you don't always want it on because you don't want them to know you're there. But, you know, you still toggle it on and off to like sneak up on people, you know? It was a cool mechanic, I think. His old ult should have been removed, and it did, so I'm glad it did. Look at this shit. It was a point-and-click instant teleport that suppressed, he gained lifesteal, applied on hit effects. Like, what were they thinking? This was absurdly broken. Anyway, I think they did a really good job with the Warwick rework. I'm putting him in A. I liked old Warwick, so I'm a little biased, but I think they did a pretty good job. He's nothing special, and, you know, he's a little toxic, but it's not that bad. I think he's cool. Let's see. Yeah, we were around here. Xerath has been changed a ton. I'm putting him in D, actually. Old Xerath was so cool and unique. He had so much shit going for him. Please be on here. Yeah, okay. Xerath feeds on arcane power, becoming resistant to physical harm, granting him 15% of his ability power as armor. This was awesome. This was so cool. They got rid of that. I was so mad when they got rid of that. His Q just dealt damage in a line. You might be thinking, that's kind of lame. Yeah, it also had a channel, so you couldn't just instantly do it like you can now. It was like, you're like, no, Xerath, Q just seems way cooler than that. But the reason it wasn't was because it was old W, which was awesome. Which is, they kind of switched things around. Like his ult now was kind of like what his W was before, but essentially, you used it, and then you couldn't move, but you gained a bunch of range and magic pen. It was so cool. Like, conceptually, this champ was so cool. I loved just, like, camping out in a bush or something and firing shit onto, like, dragons that people were taking. I love this. Let's see, his old E, he dealt magic damage and marks him with Unsable Magic. Unsable Magic will trigger if a marked enemy champions he'll hit with another spell and then stuns them. Yeah, fair enough. It's like his E now, but takes more skill than his E now. Weird that they would do that, but okay. Anyway, his old ult is basically his W now, but I don't know, whatever. You would use it and it would go like in an area and go boof, boof, and then go boof. You could use it up to 3 times. Its range did also increase during your W. Yeah, it was cool, man. I loved old Xerath, straight up. And I think new Xerath is just a lame generic poke mage. D tier, for sure, D tier. Swain's at least cool. I'll put him in C tier. Like, I don't know. I'm going back and forth on Swain a little bit. between C and D, not between like him being actually a good rework. Oi, 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 oi. Xin. All right, Zin's been changed a ton. It probably won't even show on here, but he used to have a different ult. He used to have a different W. His scalings used to be different. His E used to work differently. This champ used to be a machine, man. But he was kind of bad for the game, so I understand why they changed him. However, I used to be like a Xin one trick back when he was released. He was the only champ I ever one tricked, really. And I played him a ton. They're probably not even gonna have his shit on here. Oh, they are. Okay. Apparently Xin was changed enough to where this matters. But yeah, here we go. Yeah, so enemies hit by your basic attacks have their armor reduced, refreshing with every hit. Only one enemy can be affected. The next 5 seconds, his next 3 basic attacks will deal bonus physical damage and reduce his other ability cooldowns. The 3rd basic attack knocks up. It was also a basic attack reset. His W passively made every 3rd attack automatically crit and heals him when he crits. I mean, on hit. And his passive would give him bonus attack speed. Oh man, I love this champ. They ruined him. I'm sorry. His new W made him so much less fun to play. His new ult makes him a lot more fun to play. So if they just keep his new ult and get rid of his new W, that'd be cool. And his passive. Like, changed all this shit. He dashes, deals magic damage in an AoE, and slows. It's basically the same, but it's not. It doesn't feel the same, right? He sweeps around him, knocking back all non-challenged enemies. Hold on. All non-challenged enemies, stunning them. Dealing physical damage. Each enemy champ gives him armor and resist. Is this the first Xin rework? Whatever. I think it is. I'm pretty sure he used to be even more different when he first came out. Doesn't matter. What matters is this was really fun. This champ was really fun. New Xin has like a 1% play rate because he's just a gimmick gank bot. Like, you hit with your W at max range, you gank, and then you do nothing. That's your game plan. You're a bad champ for the rest of the game. Unless you eat like a random ult with your ult. They did a terrible job with this rework. Sorry. Not sorry. Yorick! D tier. Sorry. I liked playing old Yorick. He was toxic, he was broken, he was gross. New Yorick is boring, unhealthy, and bad for the game. He's just a split push champ. The Maiden is a bad mechanic. The Wall is a bad mechanic. Lethality Yorick is a bad mechanic. His design, visually he looks better, kind of, but old Yorick kind of also had that thing that old Swain has where he was actually ugly. He had a hobble. He was kind of more unique looking. Nah, he's bad. It's a bad rework. Almost as bad as Swain, except the only difference is I like new Swain kinda a little bit, and I don't like new Yorick at all. So, yeah. Terrible rework. Sorry, not sorry. Let's see. Yuumi got a rework. Yuumi did get a rework. You know what? Fuck everyone else, man. The Yuumi rework was bad. The best friend mechanic is bad. It leads to less gameplay. The fact that Yuumi doesn't have to get off of people anymore is bad. Her having to get off an auto to get shields to jump on people again was good for the game. Old Yuumi having a heal instead of a shield was more fun for me. Old Prowling Projectile was more fun for me. I used to play old Yuumi a lot. I still play new Yuumi. I don't think she's ruined, which is why she's not in D. But old Yuumi was way more fun. And a lot of people would say, just delete Yumi from the game. She's bad for the game. And I would say, fuck you. Deal with it. Zack kind of got reworked, but he got changed back. Zeri, I'm just putting her in D tier. I don't need to explain it. Ziggs sorta got a rework at some point. Sorta, but not really. Zillion's basically the same. Zyra did get a rework. But honestly, old Zyra passive was ass and shouldn't have been in the game. So, whatever. I'm not putting her up here. But if you want me to, because it's like, well, she got changed at least as much as like Twitch did. Fine. A tier. Briar obviously didn't get changed. Almost no one down here got changed. Teemo's not really that different. His ult is basically the only thing that about him that's been changed a lot since he's come out. Visually, he looks a lot better. Okay. I think we're done. There you go. Surprisingly, unless I missed someone really obvious, which I don't think I did. I'll look through it real quick just in case. Oh, Garen's pretty different than when he came out. So is Darius, actually. And Diana. Hold on. Didn't I say Diana got reworked and I don't like her rework, but it wasn't a real rework, so I'm not putting her up there? Whatever. Get put in C tier. Get Nene. Also, I said I didn't like Ezreal's rework either. And then I didn't put him up there? How did that happen? Cassiopeia also got a rework that I didn't like. Garen got like a villain mechanic thing, but they got rid of it, so now he's not different enough for me to care. Darius is debatably different enough for me to care, but whatever. I'm not worrying about it. Fizz is pretty different. It's like, I remember these things. Ashe is very different than when she first came out. So is Alistar. But I still put Twitch up here. Okay, yeah, they've done a bad job with Alistar. The Ashe changes were good, even though I still hate her. Did I miss anyone? Kassadin got changed a lot, I guess. Sort of. I'm not putting him up there, sorry. Sorry, Kassadin fans, I'm not doing it. Did I miss anyone reasonably? Singe got changed a bunch, but not really. Oh, Rammus! They really only changed his ult for the worse, and I liked old Rammus better, so... C tier. Alright. But then, with that regard, it's like they really only changed Tristana's E for the worse, and her passive. And... not really much else. I'm not putting it. Twisted Fate used to be able to teleport globally. With a basic ability. It was very cool. Varus is pretty different. But also not really. Alright, there you go. My reworked tier list. Not ordered in each tier, and I'm not gonna order it either. So, if you disagree, tell me in the comments. If you don't, then, great. We can be friends. Feel free to like, subscribe, comment. Let me know if the thing lights up when I say that. Yeah, see you all in the next video. Peace.